like to?
It's how to increase our sukriti and our devotion to the Krishna, to listening about the Shastra and from the verified guru or like dedicated person.
Wonderful. To be able to increase our sukriti, pious credits, or engage our time such that we get the maximum benefit from that engagement. That is called as sukriti. Isn't it? Hearing from scripture, shastra, from a verified guru, Srila Prabhupada. So that is a very strong motivation to be here, isn't it? Anyone else has any other opinion? Yes.
Karma yoga is very like practical in like grahastha, like student life. How do I have to do something to maintain myself, so how do I do that according to like your like varna, your ashram?
Right. So based upon our situation, present day world, in the present times, how to perform actions that could be very helpful. So Karma Yoga seems to be such kind of activities for student life or a life of sacrifice because you have so many responsibilities, isn't it? Grahastha ashram. It's a life of sacrifice, isn't it? You have to sacrifice your time for your family members. You have to sacrifice your time towards your colleagues, co-workers, etc., etc., etc. So, to be able to fine-tune that. Wonderful. So, these are good reasons, right? I'm not sure that we would always think about the reasons for being here, but it's helpful. Why am I here? Today we are reading from the verse number 31. We are reading Shloka 31 onwards. Chapter 3, Karma Yoga. So if somebody is already there, you can let us know the page number. 167. Thank you. So let us recite the verse. Text 31. Shloka 31. Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Shraddhavanto nasuyanto Shraddhavanto nasuyanto Muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Do we ask somebody to recite or just go? Okay. So, ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto asuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. So, the topic of discussion is mata. Mata means opinion or perspective. See that word in the first line, matam? Yes? So something about that is going to be explained, or some clarity would be given about the idea of mata. Ye me matam. So ye basically could mean XYZ. It is some unknown persons or unknown objects. We'll see what they are. I wasn't here for the previous verses, right? So most probably it could also be referring to certain persons, group of people, or group of objects from the previous verses. So that is what is ye. Ye could mean those, they, them. So I'm not going to look at the word for word meanings right now. We'll try to see if we can decipher the Sanskrit. Ye me matamidam nityam. So mata is perspectives. Mata is instructions. Mata means opinion. Mata could mean clarity or vision. Here it most probably seems that Krishna has expressed some opinion before, or he has kind of set down certain instructions before this verse. Something must have been there. Anyone remembers? What is it? From previous classes, do you remember what it could be? Hint. The title of the chapter. So what do you think it could be about?
The previous passage was telling that one should not, one should follow the prescribed duties and not disturb others who are not engaged in this path, and let them just engage them in the best possible way.
Correct.
And he's saying, and in final verse he's saying that you just follow the instructions, give up the lethargy and fight.
See there. Follow the instructions. So Krishna says, this is my opinion. Follow. Once you hear, follow. Someone tells you follow. So now that is a really very strong perspective being given. So most probably this is a follow-up to that. Right? So it's about action. Krishna is describing how it is important to act. The best way to act is to know the prescription. Hence prescribed duties. The best action means where you can be most productive with least attrition is that which has been prescribed, that which you know. So either it is prescribed in your own consciousness. Prescription basically means 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the things that should be done. So prescribed duties basically means 1, 2, 3, 4. So it could either be within our own consciousness, we have come up with a framework, or it could be somebody else that we trust, who is experienced, who gives that framework. So here Krishna, we trust. So Krishna has given the framework for prescribed duties. He says, follow your prescribed duties. Follow my instructions that one must engage in prescribed duties. He's also, I'm just trying to recap whatever Prabhu Shi mentioned here. Hari Kirtan Prabhu. Hari Sankirtan. Hari Kirtan, I sometimes forget. Hari Sankirtan, sorry. Yeah. Auspicious Kirtan. Congregational Kirtan, right. Hari Sankirtan Prabhu. So prescribe duties and try not to disturb others. The least benefit that one can get is that one is focused at least on doing one's duties properly. That's very beneficial. For example, you're chanting around and you're trying to see if everyone is focused on chanting or not. Or are they sleeping? Are they pronouncing properly? And you're going Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So either you should be very, very good at multitasking. Like you should be someone special like Vyasadevji. Vyasadevji can be focused on meditating on Krishna and also dictating to Ganesh. Or it is like Narada Muni. He can expand himself into 8 ways. So his intelligence also expands into 8 ways. Or there is a reference to intellectual people like the Ramanujam, the mathematician, or also Vivekananda. The intelligence is compartmentalized in such a way that at any given moment, one can be analyzing 3 or 4 different topics. It's an art. It can be done. It's not very mystical. It can easily be done. Ladies who cook, they have mastered that art. They are kind of, working intelligence, I'm not sure, I'm just using that word for intelligence, is so fine-tuned that they go on cooking. At the same time, they're able to have a conversation on some different subject matter. Okay? So, prescribe duties without disturbing others, and if you do have to, try and lend a helping hand, then do it in such a way that it is beneficial to you. It should not come back and bite you. So do it in such a way that the person feels happy that you've that you've given them you've given them a helping hand. So that is smart. Okay. So matam. So this is what Krishna is referring to here. Ye, now we know who. Who are those? He'll be describing those personalities further. Ye me matam idam nityam. Idam means right now. Idam could also be referring to the instructions that he has given. Idam means this. Idam means here. Idam means present. Various ways the word idam could be used. Here idam is most probably being used in conjunction with matam. Okay? Idam mata, these instructions. Alright? Nityam. Nityam? Correct. Always eternal. So, what Krishna is saying is that these instructions of mine have been followed by similarly minded people since eternity. And in the future also there will be people who are like-minded who would follow the instructions. So that is the meaning of Nityam here. That these instructions were always existing for those who wanted to be benefited from them, following prescribed duties, etc., etc., etc. So, ye me matam idyam, ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Manavaha means since you are in the human form of life, the intelligence is supposed to be disciplined such that you are able to accept my instructions. It also means manava are people who can accept instructions with faith. So faith will also be addressed in this particular verse. There, Shraddhavanto. So that's Shraddha. Shraddhavantaha. Those who are faithful. Those who are faithful. What comes to mind when you think of this word faithful? What comes to mind?
One who sticks by the person irrespective of what he does.
Sticks. So as faithful means
Loyal.
always there, loyal. Is loyal. Okay. What else comes to mind? Anything else comes to mind? Yes, please.
Faith based on fact, not sentimental.
Faith based on fact. So try to distinguish between faith and blind faith. It would be an oxymoron saying real faith, because faith means real. So it's either blind faith or faith. Right, thank you. So 2 opinions. Is that sufficient? Yes. Shraddhavantaha. So the word Shraddha implies loyalty It implies openness to facts. It also implies reverence or respect. Shraddha, the word Shraddha hints at reverence. Being faithful may or may not hint at that. Correct? Shraddha implies that I respect the book, I respect the personality, I respect the Supreme Lord. Shraddha. So Shraddha unto the Supreme Lord, Shraddha unto the scriptures. Shraddha also implies humility. Is that all right? Because without humility, Shraddha is superficial. So when we speak of Shraddhavantaha, we are also speaking about humility. Humility allows us to be comfortable with the grandeur or the grandness of the Lord. It helps us be comfortable being insignificant in this huge creation. And hence, when we have this faith in the Supreme Lord and the creation, we feel all right with the idea that, yes, I am small, but definitely the Supreme Lord has an important plan for me. So, Shraddhavantaha, and since it is Sandhi, it is Anasuyantaha. Shraddhavanton Suyavanta. So, you've heard of this word Anusuyantaha or Anusuya? Anusuya means non-envious. Anusuya is the opposite of the word Asuya. Asuya basically means finding faults. And having envy helps you find faults. Right? So if one is envious towards someone, then even if everything seems to be perfect, we'll try to find faults. Oh, but they are 2 seconds late. That is what envy does. So, Asuya. And Anusuya means somebody who has developed the quality of no fault finding and hence is non-envious. Is that helpful? Is it helpful to know that if one can be free from the propensity to find faults, unnecessarily finding faults, then it is possible to be non-envious too? So, Shraddhavantaha Anasuyantaha Muchyante, free. Muchyante means becoming free, liberated. Freedom from what? Liberated from what? Karma bhihi tepi. This te is relating to the ye. The first line there is a, we began the verse by ye. So those people, and then tepi. They, because they are Shraddhavantaha, Anusuyantaha, they also, the word also makes you wonder why there is an also here, api. Api, this word is there, tepi. So it is te, api. But there is conjunction of these two words, therefore it seems like tepi. To muchyante tepi karma bhihi. They are freed from or liberated from karma bhihi, not from actions. Here the word karma actually means the reactions of the actions. It means karma phala. One becomes liberated from the reactions of the actions that one is performing, and hence one is liberated. One is free. Is that all right? Why is the word api used? Api here is also. Let us read the translation now. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully, nityam, shraddha, without envy, anasuyantaha, become free from the bondage of fruitive reactions. So karma bhi is fruitive actions, not reactions. Here it is saying fruitive actions. So the actions that give fruits, right? Or which give phal, fruits. So the reactions. So freedom from, or being free from the bondage of the reactions that come. So karma bhihi is implying freedom from the results of one work. Okay, so they become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Why also? Look in the word for word meaning. See what api is, or even. Here api is translated as even, or also. Something more. So there is a play on the word shraddhavantaha. Who is a shraddhavantaha? Faithful. Right? So there could be different attitudes presented in the understanding of what is shraddhavanta. Different vritti, different personalities, different attitudes. So the first personality that is being referred to by the word shraddhavanta, and hence api is qualified being in this shloka. Even they. So there, if it is just one group of people that we are talking about, then even would mean that those people are already lost and now they are saved. However, if there is more than one group of people who have different approach to life, different approach to their shraddha, then even would mean all of them. And even the first category, even the second category, even the third category. Correct? So let us see. Are there different categories of those who follow faithfully? The first category are people who have complete faith in the instructions of the Supreme Lord, and they also follow the instructions through their actions. Correct? You understand this? So there are people who are very good at following the instructions through actions. So these people are like, we can say, completely faithful, totally faithful, whatever, whichever way you want to understand it. Definitely, they get liberated, and well, they get liberated because they have answered all the questions perfectly. So full marks, 100 out of 100. There is another group of people that have complete faith in the instructions. And when we say instructions, instructions could also refer to scriptures, because the instructions are found in scriptures, Shastra. So there is a group of people who may have faith in the scriptures, but because of whatever circumstances, they cannot bring it into action completely. So they are not able to act, or all of their actions that they perform may not comply totally with the amount of faith that they have in the scriptures. So they are desirous of completely dedicating all of the actions based on the scriptural injunctions. They are desirous of that. But some of the actions are not, let us say, 100%. It is not completely qualifying according to what faith demands. Therefore, the word api is used. Even these people, even these who totally trust the instructions of Krishna but are not able to implement all of it or implement it perfectly. They are imperfect in the implementation. Even they get the benefit. What is the benefit? Freedom from the bondage of fruitive activities. Now the word api makes sense. Yes? Because it gives us hope. Otherwise, if you only look at this scene or this idea, this perspective that you are faithful to the instructions and you're following the instructions to the T, then there could be two fallouts of this, or two effects born out of this. One is, if we see somebody within a congregation whom we believe that, oh, they are actually following everything to the T, then we will be very much moved to call them as perfect people or devotees. Correct? That could happen because, oh, I think these are the instructions, and I think this is a manifestation of those instructions into action, and they embody it. So there's a possibility that seeing such people, rather than focus on one's own actions, we focus on them being very good at what they are doing. So that is one fallout. The second fallout is we may feel hopeless that, oh, when will the day come when we will be able to follow the instructions perfectly. Hence, Krishna has used the word te api. Even if you're not, even if someone is not implementing it perfectly, like out of 10 instructions, or let us say 10 times an instruction has been put into action in our lives, maybe 9 times we have been successful at it, and once we are not as successful. There has been some shortcomings. Still, we are entitled to be muchyante karmabhihi, entitled to be free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Now there is another category of people who, because the word api has been used, even they could qualify for such benefits. Who are they? They do not have complete faith in the scriptures. Alright? They kind of have lukewarm approach towards the scriptures. Like, okay, maybe it's good for others, I'll think about it. However, anasuyantaha, they do not deride those instructions. They do not challenge those instructions. They do not find fault with those instructions. So the faith is not complete. It's not 100%. It could be 50%, or they're not even aware of how much faith they have in the scriptures. However, they are okay with whenever they hear the scriptures, they are okay with whatever is being told in the scriptures. It's like they coexist with whatever is being done. It's like they are neither too much affected by it, nor do they negate it. Because they don't criticize the scriptures, even such category of people can receive that benefit. So Krishna is being very merciful. And how do we understand mercy? Is by analysis. When we analyze that, even if our faith is not as staunch, But we are not criticizing the scriptures. We are not speaking ill about. So what will happen? Do you think if you eat only prasad, the world will be saved? We are not speaking things like that. But we are like, you like to just honor prasad, eat prasad, good for you. Even such people have hope. They api. Muchyante karma bhihi. Even they have the opportunity to be free from the bondage of fruitive activities. Alright? Good. Anyone would like to share something about this verse? That's it. I mean, we could go to Prabhupada's purport, but mostly Prabhupada's purport speaks about what we've discussed. Do you want to share something about
yeah,
it?
so the one thing that I mean, as I was going through,
So yes, now we are open to suggestions or
As you were
more
explaining
ideas.
the logic and I was contemplating it, the one thing that I realized is that you have to be non-envious in this thing. That is the most critical point in this one. Whether you have faith, but less faith, more faithful faith. Like the non-envious part is most important here.
See, that is why it's good to come to Krishna consciousness when you're a householder or you have an occupation job. Because you can clearly understand what is the most beneficial amongst all the benefits that you're getting. Right? So if you're anasuyantaha, non-envious in any of the categories, it works. Right? So who do you think are better off? Those who work in the world or those who renounce and go into the forest? Based on today's verse. Just on today's verse.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Correct? So whatever is helpful, if you can relate to somebody who's working in this world and understanding philosophy, good for you. But if you can relate to someone who has gone away into the forest, good for you. So whatever helps you, whatever works for you. Okay? See, this tendency to compare and contrast, it really stimulates one, isn't it? And to be able to be equipoised and having equal vision is a blessing. To see pros and cons, to see good and that which is not really good for us, not very helpful for us, is an art. And the application of that art is where we only look at that, we only focus on that which is helpful. That's a very good point. It doesn't matter.
It's the extension of that point. So, in general, the human being is, it has a tendency to find faults. Knowingly or unknowingly.
Even animals have.
Animals, there's a different category. I'm looking for human beings.
Right.
So, and especially even when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, although we know we should not be envious, still, unfortunately, it becomes sort of a second nature. It's very, unless you are like really conscious and you are really practicing it. At least for me, it's not. I've seen that it's not possible. I generally tend to control. Like yesterday also, I was in the temple. Somebody did some garden service. They didn't clean it. Mine didn't clean it. I went to the head of the department. Okay, they didn't clean. So the tendency is there to find faults. But I cleaned up, so I could have just ignored it and cleaned it up. But the thing is, you tend to rectify the situation. Right? So how do we? Is it good, bad, or how do we get out of that mode?
How to get out of the managerial mode.
Do all our findings come from envy, or envy
That's okay. That's another question. So there are two: how to come out of such a situation, and
that could answer this question also.
so it's like when it's like a marriage of two opinions.
Yeah.
Once you're married, you just have to consider both opinions now. Right. Is all fault finding born out of envy? Is the first question. The second question. The first one is, when you have a managerial approach towards life, then is it possible not to notice shortcomings and faults? Because there would be shortcomings and faults. I would take the easy way out of this situation by just quoting Prabhupada. Prabhupada said this material world is a dangerous place to be in. So the earlier we realize that and do something about it, most probably we will not have to deal with the material world very soon. Yes.
I just wanted to add what Prabhuji was talking about, the enviousness.
Yes.
Uh,
You can have the mic come to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So this enviousness is something which is being put in our mind because of the modern way of life, where it's like everything is cutthroat, like the competition for
Right.
work and the education itself. You need to be top, or you need to do this. So that enviousnness automatically gets into the subconscious mind, and then we start thinking everything in that mode, be it material or spiritual. So that's a consistent challenge in the way of life what we have currently.
That is an interesting point also. Yeah, that is so true, isn't it? In the modern world, it seems that there is always an opportunity to interact with, or to be in a situation where envy can hit either you or someone else, isn't it? It's like very infectious in today's times. Okay. Would you want to also reflect upon how Hiranyakashipu is envious with Prahlad? How Ravana is envious about Vibhishan? He's angry, but there is envy that why are you siding with my enemy? It's hurt. Hurt is born out of his envy for, he feels betrayed. So that rivalry. Maybe in modern times, our idea of modern day existence and the way we understand life from before, based upon whatever history we can read or people have told us, it seems that whenever people have sufficient resources, it brings about, or it creates a culture where envy can grow. And well, so previously, all we can know about how Hiranyakashipu or someone who is really envious, Shishupal, the common people, we haven't heard much about them being envious. But today's times, we feel that we are common people. We are not like Shishupal. We are not a prince. But we do have resources, a lot of resources. Maybe much more than what we need. When we have a lot of resources, the use of those resources brings in too many opinions. And certain opinions where we feel challenged, we feel very, very defensive, then we may, because of being so insecure, we may bring out envy. Oh, that person doesn't like me, and therefore that person is always against me. It's easy to say that someone else is envious about us, but here we are trying to introspect. So we'll just discuss about how we could be infected by envy. So maybe if we reflect upon it, it is quite possible that wherever there were resources, even in the past, people were as envious as they are now. It was as dangerous as it is now. But it really doesn't matter what happened in the past. Our present situation is what is really important. So if you feel that today the chances of being embroiled in envy is much more, then we have to be very careful. Dangerous? Does all envy or does all fault finding come from envy? Here, because the word anasuyanta has been used. So asuya basically means fault finding. Asuya has been used to embellish or to, it is like an adjective for another adjective. Not an adjective. Shraddha. So it can be an adjective, Shraddha can be an adverb, Shraddha could be a noun too. But definitely, asuyanta is used to explain, to throw more light on Shraddha. If one's Shraddha is tinged with envy or fault finding, then something could happen. Let me tell you a story from one of the commentaries on the incident or the reference of the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the milk ocean. So Rama Devi, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, she has the Varamala in her hands because she's just come out of the churning from the ocean, right? Sindhu Kanya. So Sindhu Kanya is there. And what is she looking for? A husband. So this is in the commentary, right? So the commentator says, she goes to each and every person. They are all very, very powerful people because, churning the Mandara mountain. So very powerful people. And she sees that each one of them has some limitations, some faults. So she goes to one and says, oh, this is a fault. Next, this is the fault. Next, this is the fault. Have you ever tried doing that? You're working with, let's say, an X number of items and you're supposed to sort it out. But it's a mixture of 2 or 3 various products. So you're trying to do it fast. Oh, this one goes there, this one goes there, this one goes there, this one goes there, and suddenly, just because of this mechanical action that we kind of become habituated to, you may put a grain that does not really belong there. Like, oh, and then you realize, oh, no, that has to go here. That happens. It happens. So Lakshmi ji goes from person to person and then she comes in front of Vishnu. And she says, oh, he also has faults. So everyone is like, what is his fault? His fault is that he never sees anyone's faults. So you asked me this question, right? Does fault finding always come from envy? If you are so favorable towards Lord Vishnu, then actually that fault finding becomes glorification. It glorifies, like Krishna, I mean, you're a thief. So now that fault finding becomes glorification. So if you're very favorable towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then this ras, it is called as the left wing, the Vamapantha, Vahamapantha is always trying to see if Krishna can be challenged. That is called as a Vahamapantha. And Dakshin Pantha is always trying to see if they can align with Krishna. The right wingers, the left wingers and the right wingers. So, in Krishna consciousness, when we are serving Krishna on that spiritual platform, then these rasas, they play a part. In the material world, where we are trying to be Krishna conscious, and where people are trying not to be Krishna conscious, basically two categories of people. There is only one Janani for criticism or fault finding, and that is envy. So unless until one has cultivated that notion of very intense goodness, then Krishna's quality as being compassionate, that comes forth. And there, because you want to help someone, you point out their shortcomings. So it could be a mentor, it could be the program coordinator, it could be a teacher, the spiritual master. So they are in touch with, or they have been blessed with Sattva Guna. So they may, in this material world, they may reflect that. Otherwise, for sure, if we are not in that position, or we do not, like it, a parent, a caring parent, or a guardian who is very caring towards their dependents, when they correct someone, it is not out of envy. When they show the limitations of their dependents, it is not out of envy. Right? Why? Because it is in Sattva Guna. They are thinking about the welfare of that personality. Here, when Krishna is explaining Anasuyantaha, is not considering those well-wishers. He is not considering them. Is that okay? Your situation, sorry?
So basically, you are in a bad position.
The material world is a dangerous place. Prabhupada's, some of his Takya Kalam, his axiomatic statements are really helpful. I lost. What did you?
The question was that, like, in a managerial perspective, sort of
Managerial situation. Yes. Try to find a way where you can be convinced after a long period of time to look for retirement from the managerial position. Because Brahma has faced challenges being a manager. Lord Shiva has faced challenges being a manager. In fact, Lord Vishnu has faced challenges being a manager when the three of them come to manage this material world as the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer. So, at one point of time, Brahmaji also says, end of my life, retirement. I retire from my managerial position. Lord Shiva is like, I'm retiring. Where are you going? Kailash. Sit down and meditate on Lord Ram. Yeah. So at one point of time, it could be at the end of the day. For the day's activity, you say, all right, I'm retiring from my managerial position of today. So you kind of just, one of Prabhupada's disciples, after I tell you the story, please let me know if you have already heard this story. So Prabhupada was someone who had really messed up something during the daytime. And Prabhupada came to know of it. And Prabhupada was like, how could you do it? There was a few other words that also were spoken, I guess. Like he was like, And you've been here, don't you know, where is your intelligence? How could you do that? And when Prabhupada was expressing himself, his face had turned red. So his servant was looking at him, watching him, like Ugra Roop. We have all these big words that we've learned. So everyone understands what is Ugra Roop? You've heard Ugra. You have to, in ISKCON, you have to learn all of these nice words. They are very picturesque. They bring pictures to your mind. Ugra. Now you understand. Previously, you would always say that, oh, the person was really very angry. But after you spend some time in our movement, you're like, oh, they were very ugra, So after Prabhupada, the situation, the person that Prabhupada was trying to explain things to had left the scene. Prabhupada was in his room, and his servant, who had stayed a little distance away during this interaction, he was in the other chamber and he had to offer Prabhupada something. He had to offer Prabhupada some service. So he comes into Prabhupada's room and he sees Prabhupada with his hands like this around his legs and rocking back and forth on the bed. Jai Gauranita, go. And this is exactly a minute after Prabhupada had been in his Ugra Roop. Exactly a minute after that. It's like he had some kind of a switch within him. Switch on, switch off. So Prabhupada was like, Jai Gauranita, switch on. How could you do this? So that Jai Gauranita, switch off. This switch on. And then after he's done, explaining to him what precautions he should have taken, and the person leaves. So now that mode is switch off. And Prabhupada is back to the other mode, switch on. Jai Gaura Nitai. So if that is helpful for us as managers, so every day try to switch off. Otherwise, certain tips that could be helpful is learn Reiki, cleanse your energies, or after the day's work, after all those very, very intense Rajogun interactions. See another word, Rajogun? Before coming to ISKCON, we would have used passionate word. But now Rajogun. So after all the Rajogun interactions have been done, take a cold shower, hot shower, go and sit in a tub full of water, whatever helps you. Let that energy be drained. Retire for the day. And finally, at one point of time, after many, many days, months, years, say, all right. Been there, seen that, done that. Now handing it over to somebody else. Is that all right?
Good.
Helpful?
Yeah, very helpful.
Oh, very helpful. Thank you.
At least the day thing is helpful.
The dating is helpful. Okay. So we'll stop here. It's already 7. No, 8.
Okay, continue talking.
4 minutes past 8.
Any other questions?
Oh, any other questions here? Any other comments, questions, thoughts? Would you like to add?
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
much. It was very nice, the question and answer actually. So in that case, the fault finding is not out of envy. It is to, in Krishna's service, to help someone to grow, right? Like because Prabhu found something that's not correct in Krishna's service, and making somebody correct is not out of envy, right? So it is not considered as envious at all.
Are you
It is-
asking me if
yeah.
that is not considered to be envy?
Yeah.
So do you want me to just give, sometimes when you have the screen ask you questions, I have to punch answers. Do you want me to respond like that? Then I can respond like that, mechanical. Based on human sentiments, it would really pay off if we don't look at that option unless and until they are members of our own family. Just based on how human sentiments express themselves. Because it's much more easier not to let envy come forth amongst family, close family, especially if one is a guardian, one is a parent, and the close family is our children. In every other situation, treat it as if you treat handling hot charcoal with bare hands. That is a little understanding after being in this world for quite some time. The most treacherous of all experiences have been personal sentiments. You can never trust them. So there are certain people, and we are very grateful to such personalities who actually reflect that mode of goodness. And that is a benediction. Maybe the world could have more of such kind people around us, compassionate people in the world. However, we have to be always on our guard, always. Mother Sita herself was fooled. According to the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, because of her emotions, even though she did not even realize that she was speaking those words to Lakshman. And that's Mother Sita. There are instances where Lakshman has spoken words like, I know this Bharat has come to kill you. So Valmiki Muni, Vyasadev Ji Maharaj, they are so amazing when they bring forth through these very respectable personalities, they bring forth these human sentiments to help us understand that we are dealing with a double-edged sword. So we should always keep the hope. We should not be pessimistic. We should always keep the hope. But if we really want to trust ourselves, to be gentle, to be kind-hearted, then the best place where we can do that is with our dependents or close family members. And the only reason is because we consider them to be an extension of ourselves. That is the only reason. So it's just self-preservation. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Or as I said, we do have personalities, great personalities who exhibit that kind of pure vibrations of the mode of goodness. Or we have to really put in all the austerities that are needed to come to that platform. So without putting in those austerities, it is only if Krishna wants, then it may happen, and those are rare occasions, really exceptional situations. Alright? So as teachers here, because the protocol of any teacher is that they have to give to their students, so teacher will exhibit that. However, beyond that, If a teacher has somebody that is very dear to the teacher come into the same classroom with other students, there's a strong stimulus to be biased. Very, very powerful stimulus. Very rare to find a teacher who would not be biased all the 365 days of the year in such a situation. They may not be biased maybe on a couple of occasions, but it's very difficult to stay away from bias if someone that they really care for is competing with other people in the same classroom, even for a teacher. Like Dronacharya, he was concerned that Arjuna was competing with his son Ashwatthama. Isn't it? And he wasn't happy to give certain very, very specialized knowledge to Arjuna. Like the knowledge of the Brahmastra. He didn't really want to give it to Arjuna because he wanted just his son to have it. He knew, when Arjuna asked, he knew he had to give it to him, and he was happy giving it to him. However, just the idea that only my son should be having that knowledge was there within him. So fault finding for many of us would essentially be born of some kind of envy. Therefore, just be focused on our own progress, just be focused on that. And whenever we deal with others, we just deal with them according to time, place, and circumstance. Like in the Bhagavatam, it is stated that so many straws, as they are floating in a river, because of the current in the river, the straws come together and the river current takes them away. Similarly, people come together for a certain amount of time, let's say like 2 hours for chanting every day, and they go their own way. So if you're coming together for chanting, just giving an example, right? Coming together for chanting, just chant, leave. However, if you want to stay over for some discussion, management discussion, then come with all sanitizers, the sanitization that is needed to keep the mind sanitized. Come with that, prepared, and use it. We have to render service. If we don't do that, we have to work. If we don't do that, then the mind will be attracted towards the lower modes. Definitely, it will be attracted towards the lower modes. So if we have to deal with it in that way, deal with it. Do whatever is necessary. Then take your hot shower, cold shower after the work is done. Purify as is possible. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right. Yes, please. So, sorry. I hope I'm not painting a really dark picture here.
It is difficult. It's not dark, but it's difficult.
Yeah, I think we should kind of just let envy go its own way. If we meet envy somewhere within our life in the darkness of the night, we say, I think you've missed, you have lost your way. You go down that. Please don't come towards me. Now, is that optimistic or no? It's being optimistic, right? Yeah, we should be optimistic about it. Like we can actually ask envy, please, next alley, not my alleyway. So let's not paint a dark picture. I don't want to do that because that's not true. The darkness is simply an imagination of our mind. We let our mind kind of just go on this wide imagination. It's difficult. The only reason it's difficult is because we haven't sufficiently trained ourselves. We haven't sufficiently cultivated that kind of approach in life. Once we cultivate that kind of approach in life, it's done with it. It's like NVG jaiye. NVG this way, please leave. Vanakkam and then bye. With envy. You're welcome, because envy is energy of the Lord. Go. Like Vyasadeva, when he saw Krishna, he was also saw Maya, who was hiding behind, very, very shy not to come in front of her Lord. Similarly, we see envy, oh, energy of the Lord, she's passing by. That's it. Okay, sorry, yes.
So Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, like you mentioned within family, independent is okay. What about like if we have any suggestions or any ideas to give to elders? Like, is that okay, or how do you see that? Within family, like.
Is it alright if I can just explain through an example? Sometimes examples make it much more very easy, right? So, let's suppose there's an elder within our family, and we really want them to read the Bhagavad Gita. They are not very eager to read the Bhagavad Gita. We want them to listen to lectures, come to programs, maybe they are not. We want them. So there could be one approach where we could ask them, very, very nicely that please come, please come. You'll really like it. This is very important. Or there could be another approach where, I really like reading the Gita. I really like attending those lectures, but I'm not sure if it is good for me or not. I need your advice on it. Can you just listen to what I'm listening to? Let me know if it's good for me or not. Could you also read the Bhagavad Gita and let me know if this book is, if the interpretation is good or not? Is that helpful? Okay. Because elders, they have seen life much more than us. Their suggestions would always be helpful for us. Okay. Can we stop here? Is it anyone else? Please, yes. I'm open. I'm just waiting. I just want everyone else to be comfortable too.
I just had one more question about that. How do you train your mind to be thinking about that other aspect? Right now the brain always thinks in a negative way. It doesn't think in such a stupid.
Right.
How do you train your mind to be doing that? Because every time the situation comes, I'm going to think on the other side. We're not going to think what is beyond that. It's very hard to do that.
Yes.
I've done it in my life. It's very, very tough. It's kind of I get blank. So, what now?
Correct. Yes, yes. Thank you for asking that question.
Somebody's face connected. Somebody's phone is connected.
Is it mine? It's not mine. There's sound coming from somewhere there.
स्पीकर में से आ रहा है फोन का ये
स्पीकर में से आ रहा है, मेरा भी इधर भी नहीं है.
I don't know what is the problem.
इतना देर की बजना बंद करो ना ये उठा रहा तो
किसी का अलार्म है क्या?
तो उसको हटा दो फिर उसको हटा दो प्रभु का आवाज आएगा
हरे कृष्णा. ठीक है, चले ऐसे करें. ठीक है. So yes, that is definitely what we see happening every day in our life. So most probably we would think that practically this is what we face in life, isn't it? And the question is, how do we train our mind otherwise? Could I ask you if you've been regularly attending our sessions here? I'm new, so I don't know.
kind of new too, not regularly. Yes.
Kind of new. So, what inspired you to come to these sessions?
I think I like the philosophy. I like how we describe things in the right perspective.
You like the philosophy? How did you know about the philosophy?
So going to temple.
Right. Yes.
Going to temple and
Yes.
hearing from all the gurus.
Correct. So you've been hearing from the gurus, you've been going to the temple, there you've heard from the gurus, and you understood the philosophy, then you have come here. How do you think the mind can be trained based on what you've heard and understood? What would come to your mind, like in one sentence, one word, if you want to describe? What could be done for the mind to be cleansed like that or trained like that?
Just keep trying to. That's what I'm doing right
Okay.
now.
Just keep trying.
Except keep trying. I don't know whether it's going to be successful or not, but if
Right.
there is a shortcut way that you already know, I would have loved to talk about that. If
Right.
it's not, then I'll keep trying. That's what I
Right.
can do.
Right. Yes. Now I'm going to make a comment, maybe just one word comment, or it could be a sentence. And after I make it, please let me know if it resonates with you based on hearing and all of that. The mind in such a situation could be trained through the benefits of satsang. Does that resonate? Have you heard that opinion before? How often have you heard that opinion before?
In most of my sessions too.
Most of the sessions, isn't it? Satsang. So now we'll figure out what is satsang, because we've heard it so many times. It seems to be very elusive in this situation, right? Trying to retrain the mind or trying to get the mind to look in another direction, train it in a different way. So what is satsang? Because of circumstances, it seems that in a practical life, situations demand that we express ourselves through such fault finding. Now, those situations could be external circumstances, or it could be our own consciousness that could be responsible for it. But that makes us respond like that. Correct? So such circumstances, external circumstances, which prod us, which stimulate us to unconsciously bring about pain to ourselves in the form of hurt. Because anger hurts you, guilt will hurt you. Those are the things that come along with that, isn't it? So those external circumstances that make us do it, or our own consciousness, the insecurity over a period of time, just being very, very guarded towards people, towards situations. Maybe that is also, it motivates one to always look at situations with lots of doubt and suspicion, and hence maybe try to find faults. So it could be either ways. These external circumstances which we associate and the consciousness that we are cultivating is called as asats, that which is not healthy. And no one asked us to do that. Consciously or unconsciously, we have made that choice. Many a times we don't even know that we are making that choice. So that is unconscious. In ignorance we do it. Or without sufficiently analyzing what should be our behavior, we just behave. We just react. So it's very reactive, isn't it? So that is asat. We have been giving our time to that asat. Satsang is wherein external circumstances motivates one to let the mind heal and stay healthy. Satsang is that which brings about a sense of security within us by our own convictions, where we try to give situations a second chance rather than be unnecessarily doubtful. So if we can start trusting our own abilities once more to look at the world as the paradise that is kind of, that the world, the Supreme Lord has given us this paradise. So if we can trust ourselves, to put our trust, our faith in the world that the Lord has created for us, and if we can spend time with external situations, with the places that we visit, with the kind of conversations that we have, the people that we associate with, and others. You can think of others too. So the more we do that, or the more time, or if we can dedicate sufficient time towards these aspects, then there is satsang. Or we can do what everyone feels that is the best thing to do, although it may not necessarily work for us, but then we think that that is the only option and that is what we should do, is attend seminars and for the moment be inspired and after that forget. And then, you're like, okay, if seminars don't work, then what can work? If being with sadhus doesn't work, then what can work? Right? So people typically may approach these challenges through such prototypes. It's not that it doesn't work. It could work. But if it is not working, it is not that helpful, then we have to try and find other avenues of satsang. One very important aspect of satsang is that trust, because Krishna is within their heart. So we should let our heart become, it should be healthy. It should give up, or the heart should feel comfortable at least at certain parts of the day, where it can heal, it can feel relaxed, it can feel comfortable, because Krishna is there within the heart. So if Krishna can stay within the heart should be a good place, right? So if the heart could not, our heart should not have so much envy that we would not be able to overcome it, because Krishna is there. So we put our trust within that. And externally, we make efforts, we put in our efforts. Is that helpful? Yes? Okay. Or as I said, let's see where the next seminar is being done and sign up for it. So, anything else, please? It's almost 8:28. We'll stop.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for your wonderful class. Once please feel free to join the program if you want to hear more from Prabhuji, and it will be more at house, it will be more closer and neither
Informal.
informal. But thank you very much for coming. We can have can lead nursing prayers, and then you can
Call him.
you can
Krishna, हाँ,
you
बोलो.
can sing this one. We'll hear from you. Satsang. We hear from kids all the time. You can sing. I will try to put the speaker again till it works.
So,
Try to-
तब तक बुला लो ना बच्चों को बुला लो एक बार तो कॉल करके. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.